Today, I want to talk about being bold. Being.
We all have a satisfaction associated with doing something that somebody finds useful.
I'm wearing a t-shirt that speaks of Mr. Edwin Schrödinger. He was a physicist, and I don't know if he had a cat or not, but he lived in the golden age of physics. And that was when many of the great, amazing, fantastic discoveries, but the discovery of molecules and laws of thermodynamics, some of them, and formulating, and the first upgrades to Newton's laws of motion and so forth. It was the time of Niels Bohr and Albert Einstein and Max Planck and just a host of others who were asking questions, discovery of molecules, discovery of the laws of thermodynamics, like I said, and ultimately the theory of relativity, and culminated in the creation of the weapons of destruction, the atomic bomb, but also things like electron microscopes and everything else. And so these guys, they were operating in the theoretical realm and then in the physical realm. It's really interesting because theoretical physics, you wouldn't think has much to do with, printing this newspaper today or helping me, go buy a carton of milk at the store. But as it turns out, it has a lot to do with it. So out of the golden age of physics between maybe 1880, 1890 and 1950, that's 70 years or so, came all of those things, and almost everything that we have today, particularly in terms of modern conveniences, smartphone that I'm filming this on right now, and computers and everything to do with nanotechnology and measurement and our understanding of the universe and all of that come from extensions and the explorations of this group of people during that time. And it was like there were competitions. There was a Polytechnic Institute in Zurich, and there was a couple of other really hubs of discovery and of postulation and what was going on and what things were really made of. And from that time, we really have the two principles of modern physics, which is the theory of relativity and the quantum theory, which talks about extremely small particles. And I'm not going to turn this into a discussion about quantum physics or quantum mechanics or quarks and gluons, which actually came later as we got further down than atoms and molecules and electrons and positrons and neutrinos, and we finally were trying to ask what's the difference in these even subatomic particles, right? It's subatomic ones. And we're down at this time to a level of things called quarks, and I don't know if those are the elementary particles or not. We seem to think they are. 7 flavors of those. Top quarks and up quarks and down quarks and charm quarks and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But here's the reason this has to do with being bold. Because at the time, there were ideas that were considered to be correct. Newton's laws of physics, laws of motion, and the description of all of those, of the natural phenomena that we see around us, as Isaac Newton postulated and showed and developed the calculus and all of the things that were developed to demonstrate and prove those things. And they were considered absolutes. They were considered like the bricks and mortar. They're firm, inviolable, inviolate, and invincible kinds of things. And yet they didn't explain certain things. And one of the interesting things that started this whole thing was the behavior of light. The behavior of light. And light behaves like both a wave and a particle, which is a chunk of something, right? And that wave-particle duality is what gave birth to many of the questions that led to these incredible discoveries. And don't get me started, or we'll be into wave theory and whether or not there's an ether in space, and that there wasn't and there wasn't, and eventually that led to the bending of space-time and everything else. But I want to talk about being bold today, today's light rope. being bold. Being bold is a requirement for creating great things. Now, being bold doesn't mean screaming. It doesn't mean standing out and making a spectacle of yourself. It doesn't mean running in front of the class or in front of your workplace and getting up on the table and doing something weird on the copy machine. That might be being stupid. Being bold requires standing up firmly for something, to not be afraid to be wrong. So let's just define it to three parts. Being bold has three parts. You're not afraid to be wrong. You have an idea or a feeling. You are moved, but impassioned by something, right? And you believe that something is important or true. And so you are willing to be wrong, but you want to talk about it. You want to explore it. You want to investigate and move into it. And you're willing to be wrong. And so you can't do a lot of exploration without being wrong. Because as soon as you move into areas that are not known for yourself, you're going to be wrong about some things. And the being willing to be wrong is one of the key pieces of being bold. So if you have changes you want to make in your life, daily transformation for the bold is what this about. It's about picking that transformation in yourself, in your surroundings, in your atmosphere, in your character, in your business, in your relationship. Whatever that is, being willing to be wrong is a key piece. So first, for example, if you want to improve a relationship and you have had a habit of being right, you have to be right. It's most important for you to twist and turn the situation so that you can somehow interpret that you were right about whatever it is. That won't lead to an improved relationship. If on the other hand, you say, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong 50% of the time. Whoa, 50%, I'm going to die. What if it's more? But anyway, being bold would be being wrong. And then you explore things to do about the relationship with the new change that you're willing to be wrong. So that's part one of being bold. Part two of being bold is being outspoken, being willing to discuss and being forthright. Okay? Now, in one of the things that happens, particularly in relationships, we started there, so we'll continue there, is there is an enabler, particularly if there is a problem in a relationship. So let's say there's a relationship where one person is assertive, aggressive. Let's say not even assertive, but aggressive. Pushy, arrogant, always wants their way. This is not about being right. It's just they want what they want. And the other person is getting tired of that and wants to change the boundaries of the relationship, change the parameters. And maybe nothing really bad's going on. Maybe it's not abusive. Maybe it's just like, I'm sick and tired of this. I want to do something different in our relationship where we can explore some other stuff. And so being bold enough, being forthright, being willing to say and do something about that, to move forward in a way that is, hey, we need to talk about our relationship. I'm willing to be right, be willing to be wrong. Are you up for this? We need to go on a journey. It was an old song, Bonnie Raitt. If we're going to get this love off the block, and take a deep breath and let's look under that rock. And it was a good song that I really, really liked. And take a deep breath and look under the rock. That's being bold, right? So being outspoken. Being willing to be wrong, being willing to be outspoken. And the second one is being willing to be consistent. Because it is history and the world around you is littered with people who are weekend warriors, right? They're good for something for a minute. We're going to go get this done, change the world, fix everything. And yeah, here we come. Yeah. And it lasts for, an hour or a day. And then, whatever you wanted to have happen right away. The obstacle didn't fall down right away. I didn't scale the rock on first ascent. Or I went to my partner and said, we're going to do this and this and this. And they didn't immediately capitulate and do exactly what you wanted. Oh, it's too hard. It's not worth the effort. Also, not the foundation of success. So if you go back and look at the golden age of physics, being bold, being willing to be outspoken, being willing to be wrong, and being willing to be consistent or persistent. Let's include both of those. consistent and persistent. Now, in this recent 10-part series on Einstein, it was on TV somewhere. I don't know if this is the first time it was on or the 10th time it was on. It's the first time I'd seen it. Really, really good. And all three of those characteristics were present, not only in Einstein, who was played fabulously in that series by a couple of different actors, but by the other mathematicians and physicists of the day who were exploring these groundbreaking, literally world-changing ideas at the edge of understanding at the time. So be bold. That means willing to be wrong, willing to be outspoken, willing to be consistent and persistent. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching the videos. Take this opportunity, leave a comment, subscribe most of all, and don't forget to spread the word about this channel.